Quant price action, I just added my origin line, something I hadn't done for quant analysis for quite a while. The master origin line was the exact point of resistance, something I didn't anticipate because I hadn't made these lines until now. So with my quant analysis, I would say my previous two analyses on how price would move, I would say how it panned out versus my TA, it was okay. It definitely did not move in terms of drawing price action. It didn't move the way I anticipated, but specific levels of interest were respected precisely how I had anticipated. So it was kind of weird. Like I gave on one of my videos, somebody said already wrong. I'm like, no, I gave 3 options and still 2 are playing. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? But the way I drew price, it definitely behaved like the ways with which it approached those levels. I was not off. But who else on the internet is out there trying to give you precise drawings on how price will get to a certain point? The points were still hit, and price played around with them from a rule perspective as anticipated. So now with this added area, or this added TA here that I should have had the whole time, let's go see if I can do a little bit better with specific price movement, not just levels, right? Because most people, getting levels right is pretty simple. But the question is, how does price behave at those levels? I didn't get very right. So let's go dive in. So the main thing I got wrong was I really felt that the horizontal down here was going to be hit before 180 would be hit, and that was incorrect. Because it took out this low, and then it came back up. So that was one thing I got wrong. A second thing that I got wrong in that analysis, with it, being very specific with guesses. I got a lot of things right though, but I got some things wrong. So let's review this. Is I mentioned I would not expect 180 again because I thought it was going to go lower, I said, don't expect 180K until the daily 10, this orange line, is used as support. So what did it do? It did the second way it can go above, be bullish. It consolidates under it and then blast off. So if you follow my channel a lot, I often include, hey, instead of support, this is the second way you can get bullish at a resistance point. I didn't cover that, and that's what happened. So I got that wrong too. However, I did get a lot of things right. First off, I go to the video. I said, one of the most valuable tools in crypto. I bet this is your high or low area. Just use the projector tool, roughly 45-degree angle. Now, had you done that, would it have been a great guide for you? Abso-freaking-lutely, right? So that was the higher or the lower high target, and it did get rejected from that area. That portion was right, but it did not hit here before then hitting it. That's how I got the price movement wrong. Yeah, this was an unexpected turnaround right at this area. It didn't even hit the origin line, which is weird. Not for sure. Yeah, because this origin line is almost perfect. Boom, boom, support. Oh, this does get a lot of fake outs before the real move. So there's bigger money. This is not dominated by retail. Yep, look. This has big money in it, folks, which isn't a bad thing, but it's going to make it harder to trade, just like Bitcoin is. So before the true move, you have plenty of washouts of the correct position. So because the big money in here is taking on longs where normal people would never dare because it's breaking down, but the big money knows they're going to buy it right back and pump it up so they can grab long slower. Or just the asset itself. So there's good and bad. If you're trading this, it will be harder to trade than a lot of altcoins that big money is not involved with in their trading algos, highly sophisticated ones, because you're not supposed to, you literally can't trade as well versus algos than you can retail traders. You can't do it. Over time, it's just not possible. Or it's not possible to do it better. But it also means big money is interested in this coin. I can tell just by this stuff. This doesn't happen on coins that are retail driven. Doesn't happen. Or it doesn't happen regularly. And on here it does. All right, so My main, honestly, this time I won't make a guess on how price gets to this point, but I'll make so maybe even better than the price path is the timing, which might actually be harder than the price path, but I'll take a slightly different approach here. I would say around the end of the month. So somewhere, let's say between, give me a day and a half cushion. Yeah, something like that. Between these purple lines, vertical lines, I think this yellow trend line, which if I zoom out, a lot of people are going to become buyers there. There's a lot of different types of traders are going to be looking at that. It's a mid-macro line, right? And it hits my origin line, which no one else has, most likely, or at least not in this fashion. It crosses it, which means algos will buy there. I don't know. I think that's my main guess. So sometime around the monthly close, I think it's going to dip under 140 and then bounce. My second most likely next, analysis for just general direction and targets for the next 14 days or so. Honestly, you might get a compression move on this, which would be healthy. It might ride this origin line. It might start forming a triangle like this. So here, this origin line, which you can tell it's real, right? It gets a lot of action. I mean, look at all this. I mean, just look. Boom, boom. It's not a coincidence, folks. Like, that's not a coincidence. Okay, that's my second guess. And then I'll make a third guess, but I'll give you a specific threshold. So you have something tricky going on here. These origin lines do work on this coin, actually pretty damn well. But my third guess, honestly, is going to be a bull trap. I think it's going to trap people. My third guess would be initiating a bullish move above 180, looking like a breakout out of that triangle, just to then get rejected by that origin line there, because humans don't see that line, but the big money algos do. That's what these lines are for. Because other people don't have them on their chart. So I could see it going up to 190 and then coming back down into the triangle. A bull trap above 180, get rejected by my origin line, which is ascending, so it's not a 190 horizontal, but it's close to 190. That would be my third guess, but in order. That would be in order. My main guess would be down here, just under 140, around the new month of November. Second guess, it fills out this triangle compression move. Third guess is more similar to the second one, kind of compression with a fake out, then comes back and rides this. And maybe even breaks down, but it just comes up and comes back in. Fake out, comes back in. What happens after that, I'm not going to guess, because that's like 3 weeks out. So those are that. If you keep those three concepts with the pivot points, right? 180 as a pivot point. Fake out level that origin line, which you could draw in yourself. Just rewind this video to where I zoomed out, put it on there. All right, so the pivot point is that, which essentially makes a triangle up here. See that? See that triangle? It's the inverse of this one and smaller, right? So that the pivot point would be here. And then the third pivot point is the trend line that everybody will be looking at, down closer to 136. And those are the three areas or the three general price paths that I would be expecting. And for the moment, though, perhaps it might be wiser in terms of your trading plan, even though you might, if you agree with me that this looks most probable, maybe not trade that way until this triangle's broken. Like I would, if I were actually, so my thoughts on what's most likely, that it's not necessarily how you should trade. Maybe your trading plan shouldn't be down here until this triangle's broken, but with the idea that it easily could happen, right? And it would bounce back into here. So hopefully that keeps you safe with those three general price paths in order, ranking in order.